Hello, everybody. How is everyone doing? Let me pop up. That loud music. Let me turn that down. Hello, everyone. How's everyone doing today? Cameron, Admiral Paco, Mars West, Riley, Mac the Knife. Good luck on your final exam. I hope it goes well. Andrea, Nix the Phoenix, Orion Send, Don Nichols, Super Desi. Who else is here? Castellas, good to see you. Miss Wicked Wolf, Brandon Miner, Mars. Mars already said hi to you. I already said hi to you, Mars. Samuel, good to see you. Moonflower Gal, good to see you. I'm just half awake. I'm sorry. Oh, Cameron, you're gonna be fine. I'm sorry you're nervous about your surgery. It's gonna be okay. I hope there's surgery. I hope it's for something positive and not anything like horrible. Like hopefully it's like gender confirmation surgery or something like that. But I hope it goes well. I'm sure it's gonna be great, my friend. Oh, Nix the Phoenix, thank you so much for the super chat. A heart to you, my friend. Mwah. I hope you're doing well. Good news this I'm ready for good news this decade too. Yeah, for those of you who haven't checked out the title, I actually have some good news to share. I'll share it in just a minute, but I just want to say hi to everybody. I also want to just forewarn everyone, yesterday, this is not the good news. Yesterday, I got my wisdom teeth taken out because I had, one was just really bad, so they just took out all the rest of them. So they're just like yanked in my mouth, and it's actually been fine up until about an hour ago, and then all of a sudden my like freaking tooth has just been, or my lack of a tooth, I guess is the best way to put it, has just been hurting a little bit. So apology if I have some tea to sort of help with a little bit of the pain. It's not really like bad pain, it's just a little bit sore. So apologies if I'm a little less articulate than usual, just because it hurts a little and it's a little bit sore. So hopefully the tea will all help. But otherwise I'm doing good. It's not bad in any way, shape, or form. It's just like one, I think it was like this top one was just like when I was brushing, just they were like, yeah, you've not brushed that well, we're just gonna yank it. I'm like, yeah, fair, it's a wisdom tooth, who cares. Hey, how are you up? Right, it wasn't that bad, honestly. I've also had crowns, and honestly, the yanking of the tooth, sorry, I won't talk because I know dentist stuff can freaks me out too, but crowns aren't like the worst. I mean, crowns are worse than pulling a tooth. Pulling a tooth actually wasn't that bad. It's like a lot of pressure. Like it's just like they're just pulling it out, but they numb you up and everything. Crowns, they have like the drill noise, and the drill noise is what gets me. But yes. Oh, thank DDuds6699. Thank you so much for your super chat. You are too kind. We must defend you from the internets. I really appreciate it. You are too kind. Mwah. Thank you, my friend. Before I reveal what my good news is, because it is very good news and I'm very excited about it, I just want to let everyone know what this is. If you're new to the chat, this is my weekly chat stream. Every Thursday I spend about 1 hour with everybody where we just talk about whatever you want to talk about. You give me topics, I'll discuss stuff, I'll share my news in just a minute, and then we'll talk about whatever everyone else wants to talk about. I'll discuss whatever it can be. Political, social, it can be video game stuff, it can be anything like that. It's all whatever. It's all open field for everybody. Super chats are super appreciated. If you do a super chat, I give a heart because super chats are how I pay the bills. No worries though, there's no pressure on that, but it does help out. As wonderful people like Captain Omni, greetings to you, my friend. And remember, it's Squidward Tentacles, not Squidward Tortellini. Hey, what's wrong with Squidward Tortellini, huh? I like tortellini. It's all good. I know that's a reference, but. And then Mac the Knife, I had to get all my wisdom teeth cut out. I hope for your sake they didn't do that. No, they were able to just pull it out. It was just done at the dentist's office. Sometimes they have to take you to a dental surgeon. Thankfully, I didn't need that, but yeah, it wasn't that big a deal. Yeah, dentist, no. Riv Wilson, yeah, see, fantastic. The drill, that's the thing. Honestly, with dentists, it's not the pain. When I'm at a dentist, I rarely deal with pain. It's never a big deal. I can handle pain pretty decently. It's just the noise. The, like, scraping noise is like the nails on the chalkboard, like, bleh, ugh. It's always the worst. Always the worst part of it. Oh, what a great thank you, Nix the Phoenix. I love this shirt. It's one of my personal favorites. It's a Banjo-Kazooie. It's a Banjo-Kazooie shirt. I love this shirt. Also, I mean, we'll say, I'll just say it. It, like, highlights the assets well. Like, not all of my shirts, like, highlight, not even just my boobs, but, like, my body. Like, t-shirts, it's hard to find, like, a good t-shirts that, like, highlights your body well. And this one, I think this one does. And I like that one. Anyways, thank you, Nix the Phoenix. Oh, Hottest farmer to offset some of the expenses of having to came to Chicago. I live here and even try to avoid downtown. Practically cost money to walk. Yeah, no, it was. To be fair, I mean, I stayed at a pretty cheap hotel. I didn't like do anything fancy. I just found like the cheapest hotel I could find near the place. So Mission Chicago was great. Which, by the way, I'll promote that real quick. I will probably share some stories about Mission Chicago here over the course of the next hour. But Mission Chicago, which is the Star Trek convention I went to last week, I shared most of my stories about it in a video over my secondary channel, Jessie Gender After Dark. And if you have not seen it, please go check out that video. I am so... Even if you think it's like, oh, it's a con experience, who cares about listening to someone's con experience? Seriously, it is a video I put a lot of work into, actually. I'm very proud of, because that con was not just like a fun little Star Trek convention for me. It was honestly I have felt more human after it, and I have felt more confident in myself. I have more confidence in humanity. It made me feel like a human being again for the first time since this pandemic started, and honest to God, in a long while even before that. Like, you know, you're stuck in a room making content and making things, and don't worry, I'm healthier and like in a happier place than a lot of people. Don't get me wrong. So I'm not like poo-pooing it, but like, you know, we've been isolated from each other, and it was just nice to be in a Trek conference where people reminded me of not only my love of Star Trek, my love of community and love of people, but why I do what I do. Not only were there so many people that told me how much they were impacted by my work, and I actually got to physically see and hear that, which, by the way, I love your comments and I love you being here in the chat and all that stuff, but physically seeing it really meant a lot to me. And the story that I didn't share in the video, let me share this thing that's gonna stick with me, and I see some super chats, but I want to get to it. But this, I was sharing the story of the con with some of my friends a few days ago, and you know, I could tell you some stories. Like, there's things I didn't say in the video, but like, I got to meet heroes of mine, people that I really look up to, like some crazy stuff. I was freaking out. Like, I literally was in a bar with like half of the current cast of most Star Trek shows, and it was freaking wild. But the moment that stuck with me, I think really has stuck with me most of the entire weekend, and this is not a moment that sticks with me because I was aggrandizing myself, but it was on the first day of the con, and throughout the entire time I was at the con, there was this weird, like, I was in this weird middle ground where, like, you know, my niche is Star Trek. Like, there are people who in the Star Trek world that know me more than anywhere else. So I kept getting stopped by a bunch of you wonderful people, maybe some of you in the chat, who like stopped and said hi and thank you for your work and things. And all of that meant so much to me, and I was so happy to see that. But then I was also in this weird middle ground where, like, I was that for some people, and then I would look at like people like Mike McMahon or Jack Quaid, Tawny Newsome, Kate Mulgrew, all those people that work on Star Trek that I was having that freak out moment with, and some of them even had it at me. Like Mike McMahon, who writes Star Trek Lower Decks, had that moment at me, so we were like doing it at each other. Well, also other people were doing it both of us. It was a very weird moment, but the moment that just sticks with me was on the first day. I was walking around, and I was like, we just got in. It was like the first hour or so the con was open. And I was just walking around seeing all the booths and all the things there. They had like Star Trek props and stuff. And I was in the middle of all the booths, right? And there was this kid who could not have been more than like 12, something like that, maybe younger, who just saw me and like froze at me. Just like, and it was just one of those things, like, we caught each other's eye, and I could tell that this person, I don't know their gender, but this person just was like freaking out at like seeing me, and I had like this moment of like realizing, like, oh, I'm the person causing this kid to freak out, and like I didn't know what to do, because I wanted to like just like be like, oh my gosh, yes, I'm here for you, you're amazing, and but not like wanting to stress them out. Like, I wanted to like be the person there to like be like, hi, yes, I'm the person you're freaking out at, I guess, it's nice to meet you, but also not wanting to add that stress. And they were I don't know why it sticks. I think the reason that moment sticks with me, and like they were so scared of me or whatever, but it just I could tell that I had made an impact in this person's life. I don't know what it was. They didn't tell me. They were too scared to really say anything, but I could tell that. And that moment's just stuck with me ever since then, because it kind of is emblematic of so many things. It reminds me of the impact that I'm having, and that the things that I do mean things to people, but also like this desire in me to make sure I constantly live up to that. Right? I want to earn that. I mean, I'm just a person making weird videos on the internet, and I want to. I know many of you. I see people in the chat saying like you're inspired. I appreciate that, and I know, but it's like I know I have impact, but I also want to make sure that impact is doing good in the world and constantly like working to earn it. That never considered that like I have made it and earned it and I get to rest of my laurels. Like if I'm going to create stuff, I want to honestly earn that kindness and generosity that people showed me. And so I don't know, that image of that kid just sticks with me more than anything else that weekend. And yeah. So that's the moment. And there were just also so many other people being like activists and creating. Erin McDonald, who many of you know from she's the science advisor on Star Trek. She just filmed a short film this weekend with Mary Chieffo and Mary Chieffo's girlfriend, Mary Chieffo playing Laurel on Star Trek Discovery. They just filmed a short film this weekend, and it just inspired me to hear her talk about it because she was preparing to film it at Mission Chicago. I was like, you're doing what I want to do. I want to make films. I want to make fiction. And like, don't get me wrong, I love doing the things that I do now, but I also want to make sure I write fiction and things that inspire to maybe one day work on Star Trek, but at least make that work. I don't know. It just reminds me of all that stuff. Yeah. So it was just inspiring, and people being activists and people being amazing and kind. It was just a truly amazing week. And then just all being dorks about Star Trek because we're all dorks about Star Trek. But now that I've ranted enough at you, I'm sure many of you will want to hear my news, which I will share. Some, if you're in my Discord server, you know. Also, Cyberquaker, I see you. Cyberquaker was also there at the con. Good to see you. You were amazing, and it was so great to meet you. Also, your data cosplay on frickin' point. I will keep your cosplay abilities in mind. If I ever need to do a video with data in it, because your cosplays were aces. Riv Wilson, heart to you. Thank you so much for your super chat. I'm just going to quick run through the people's super chats that people have given so far, and then I'll share some of my good news. Let's see. Sorry, I didn't read Riv Wilson's appreciation for a space where I'm seen as valid. Riv, you are most definitely valid. Mwah. Good to see you, my friend. Duds6699. I don't know why you can't. I keep wanting to say D-Duds for some reason. Been habitually avoiding, and heart to you, been habitually avoiding the dentist for a lot of time before this year. Take care of your mouth bones, people. Yes, this is a TED Talk. This is as expensive as the super chat. Yes, please. I'll be very clear. I am not the person who has the best dental hygiene in the world. I try my best to take care, and I've gotten better over years, but I didn't, and I did have braces growing up, Miss Wicked Wolf. As a kid, and I feel like this, I don't want to necessarily ubiquitize this as a whole totally trans thing, but I've seen a lot of trans people do it. When I was a kid, because I did not care about myself and my body, never thought my body would ever be what I wanted it to be, I did not take care of my body in numerous different ways. Like, I didn't wash my hair very well, I didn't brush my teeth very often, I didn't, like, exercise or things like that. And it really caused a lot of problems in, like, today, like, with my teeth. Just, like, forming good habits and things like that, and just trying to make sure I learned to brush my teeth and be better about it. So I brush my teeth and I try to have good dental hygiene now, but believe me, you want to take care of your teeth, so do that. It's just a good thing. The Molly J, heart to you. Hi, Jessie, I sent you a copy of my first novel, Scatter. Wanted to make sure you got it. It would have been a big purple envelope. I think someone else sent me their novel. I have this big pile. I don't think I would have put it here. I know someone sent me their novel, The Molly J. I think it might have been yours. If I do have it, it's in the other room. Because I don't think it's in this giant pile of books that I have here, books that I have to read. Or books that are here for, like, a lot of these are here for researching for videos. But yes. Oh, unless it's this one? I don't think this one's yours. Because this one I know I just got in the mail. Which I don't think was yours. Yeah, I don't think this was yours. I think I'm 90% sure I got yours, the Molly J, but I have a pile in there, and I will check it out. So, yeah, hoping certain Florida politicians learn you don't mess with the mouse. Disney has way too much money for rooting for them to use it here. Heart to you, Tracy Dale. I'm assuming you're talking about the fact that the Disney or Ron DeSantis is now going after Disney. They just passed a bill in the Florida Senate that's trying to remove, like, Disney's special tax status and ability to govern itself. Honestly, I don't care. It's one of those like, oh look, we're watching a giant corporation that like has continually failed to stand up for and use its power for LGBTQ people because it's a corporation. That's what it's gonna do, and denied LGBTQ rights, going up against a Florida government that has passed literal legislation that harms LGBTQ people with the Don't Say Gay bill and things like that. And then Ron DeSantis, who's just been absolutely awful all the time. Literally, I think like he was one of the people that helped start this whole freaking groomer thing. Like, oh, look, LGBT people are grooming. Or at least he didn't start it. He mainstreamed it in a lot of ways, at least in the United States. So honestly, watching Disney and the Florida government go at each other, I don't care. They both suck. So screw them, I guess. It's one of those, like, I don't care. Disney gets away with a lot of crap and treating its workers terribly, so maybe they shouldn't have special exemptions, but the only reason this is happening is because Disney did the mildest stand-ups to Ron DeSantis and the Don't Say Gay bill after tons of bad press and pressure, and also supporting financially the politicians who helped push through the Don't Say Gay bill. So, like, I don't have a side. I don't care. They both suck. Anyways, let me read this one last one from Mars, super chat from Mars, and then I will share my news. So, by the way, heart to you, Mars. I'm rewatching TNG because of your video on autistic rep and Star Trek, and keep getting sad whenever they tell Data to shut up. LOL. Yeah, no, it sucks. Data is really good representation. I mean, obviously he's not intended to be autistic representation, but Data works in a lot of different ways. Clearly, in Measure of a Man, he was used to evoke issues of slavery and the depersoning of people. You could also talk about gender issues through Data, like how in The Child, Pulaski literally dead names is the wrong way. She misuses Data's name, and Data has to like stand up for his proper name usage, like many trans people have to do their dead names. So you can talk about that. Data as an autistic rep. I think works really, really well. I talked about it in that video, and how he still has, before the emotion chip, Data 100% had emotions. I will die on that hill. The thing is, he just processed them differently. He sort of intellectualized a lot of his emotions, which is what a lot of autistic people do too. It's the stereotype that many autistic people are thought, like many people think there's a stigma against autistic people that we are less emotional, emotionless, things like that, which is many people see Data as. But we do have emotions. We just analyze and think through the emotions and analyze other people's emotions that way. Data's Day, I think, is a great episode that showcases a lot of this aspect of how Data really does have emotions and thinks through it. So I think Data as an autistic rep is great. And you can also look at him as asexual as well, which I'm going to talk about in my Sex and Star Trek video, which, by the way, I'm not almost done with it, but I got the rough cut and it's 4 hours long. It's going to come in the next month or so. I'm just waiting on, I need to finish some beat roll and things like that, but my next Sex and Star Trek video is coming. I was literally working on it today, so that's happening. Alright, last super chat, and then I promise, I'm sorry to keep teasing the news. Alex Miller, hey Jesse, just want to say I really want Raffi and Seven to adopt me with my sapphic bumps. Who doesn't? Though Raffi, I won't spoil, but Raffi after this latest episode, I'm a little less like, I'm not sure I would want Raffi to be my mom. But I still love Raffi. Don't get me wrong. I still love Raffi. But Seven, 100%. Seven was great with the kids. She learned how to take care of those Borg kids in Star Trek Voyager. I feel like she would be a pretty decent mom. All right. So, good news. So, here's the good news. So, if you're on my Discord server, I already shared this. But the good news is, literally, I think 2 days ago, maybe 3 days ago, earlier this week, I got a call from my surgeon, my facial feminization surgeon. And as many of you know, I did a video on this a few weeks ago, or a few months ago, however long ago, 2 or 3 months ago. I was supposed to have surgery facial feminization surgery in January, but due to the COVID spike that was happening at the time due to Omicron, it got canceled, which was deeply depressing for numerous reasons. I shared all the reasons in that video. One, I was kind of putting my life on hold for a lot of reasons, like dating and moving and things like that. So I was deeply upset, and then also just wanted to have the surgery done because it's the last major part of my transition that I really want to get done. And then after that, I'm like, no more transition stuff to worry about. It got delayed till August, and I was really upset by that. But I got a call earlier this week, and they moved it up to early June. I think it was like June 5th. something like that. I think it's like the first week of June, whatever that is. So hell yeah, my surgery got moved up 2 months, and it's in less than 2 months from now. So about actually a month and 2 weeks, a month and a half, something like that. So yeah, my FFS is coming in a month and a half, and I am extremely excited about it. I literally have my appointment on Monday for them to like do like last checks and stuff, and stuff like that. And I see everyone saying nice things in the chat. Thank you so much. It's really amazing. Yeah, I'm really excited about it. It makes me very happy. I mean, you know, it's good news. It's like mitigated bad news, I guess, because it was moved up until it was pushed to August. But like, and it's only 2 more months. But I'm very excited about it. It's going to make a way to celebrate Pride Month and Fantastic Mr. Fox. And also, it's I think going to be done a week before my birthday, which will make my birthday a little less fun because I'll be recovering. But what it does mean is I can guilt my friends into getting me good birthday presents. Like, oh, I'm sorry, I just had surgery. I would really love something nice. Maybe take me out for sushi or something if I'm feeling good enough for sushi. So yeah, no, it's it's literally a week before, or week or 2 weeks before my birthday. If it's June 5th, my birthday's June 18th. So a little less than 2 weeks. Which is hopefully a good enough time to heal so I can go out and have a nice dinner. So yeah, I am very excited about that. It makes me very happy. It's the last thing in my transition. I also, and I see a bunch of super chats, and I'll get to them. This is how my brain works for this, right? Where I'm like, ooh, I have to now up the video that I wanted to do. Because I want to do a video, kind of like I did a video from a breast augmentation video. I want to do a video to talk about facial feminization surgery. And I know what it's going to kind of be on. And I want it to kind of be on, like, passage of time and transitions, coming to, like, the end of the road with transition, but also, like, how many trans people, like, juxtapose ourselves against time. Like how we say, like, here's me at the beginning of transition, here's me at the end of transition. Like, here, and, like, how there's a cultural fascination with trans people's transitions. Like, you know how many, like, I'm sure many trans people know this. Like, if you put up a picture of, like, yourself before transition, yourself, like, in or after transition, you'll get a lot of likes because people are fascinated by that juxtaposition. And I want to do a video talking about, like, my own personal relation to that, but also my discomfort with that, but also, like, fascination with that. And so it'll be an interesting video to make. And so now, but the thing is, I want to film stuff about it before and after the surgery, so I gotta write it now and film before the surgery happens, or else I'll lose the face that I want to have before I shoot it. So it'll be interesting. So that's the way my brain goes. Let's think of ways to, whenever there's, like, a big life events in Jessie's life, it's like, how can I make something creative out of it? So that's just how my brain goes. I can't just let, like, a life moment happen. I need to do some creative work with it. But yeah, that's the good news. Let me just quick get to some super chats. Thank you so much. I see so many people in the chat saying congratulations and being kind. Like, heart to you. Thank you so much for all your kindness. I am so excited about it, and I really appreciate you all getting kind with me too. Let's see. I'm going to find. I'm gonna check the super chats, but I just see Godzilla VKK. I'm going to find a surgeon next week concerning SRS. Can other stuff such as FSS be discussed for this as well, or is this jumping too far ahead? I mean, it's not jumping ahead. I mean, your transition timeline is your transition timeline, right? Some people get FFS first because it's maybe more accessible, less, like, extreme in their eyes. Or again, and also just to be clear, like, everyone's transition is different. Some people, like me, I got vaginoplasty, you know, with the genital surgery. I got breast augmentation, I got FFS, and I did hormones along with, like, therapy and social transition, all that stuff as well. That's me. My journey is much more of a pretty much all the major, like, surgical interventions that you can get for being a trans woman. Not all of them, but pretty much the big highlights. But it's not jumping too far ahead. What I will say is your SRS surgeon, though, is not going to be the same surgeon as your FFS surgeon. They're two different surgeons. So if you're looking for sexual reassignment surgery, so whatever genitalia surgery, I'm assuming is what you're aiming for there, whether it be a vaginoplasty or was it phalloplasty is the for trans men, or transmastic folks, I should say. they're going to be different surgeons, so you're going to need to find 2 different surgeons for that. Unless you're talking about, like, it's an insurance consultation, in which insurance, like, I have Kaiser Permanente, and while I got my vaginoplasty before I was on Kaiser, I got it separately. Now that I'm on Kaiser here in Washington, I know in California as well, they have, like, specific specialists or, like, overseers for trans stuff. And those people, because Kaiser is like its own network of health professionals, they'll coordinate getting you to the right people themselves. And so with that person, you could talk about, like, these are the things I want done. How do I go about finding each one of those things? But if you just have a regular medical insurance or paying for yourself or finding your surgeon yourself, you're going to have to find different surgeons, whether they be, for SRS or FFS, or breast augmentation as well. The one that would probably be the same, could be the same person, not always, but could be, you might find someone who would do, like, breast augmentation and facial feminization surgery. Generally, I don't think they would do it at the same time. They might, but I don't think so. Most would do it as 2 separate surgeries, but you might be able to find that as one surgeon. So that's the quick thing about that. So, but anyways, I want to get to some super chats here. Brutus Magnuson, a silver lining to Texas and Florida's putting to them and making the right look unhinged to the average person. Also happy you're feeling happy. Well, thank you, Brutus. Yeah, well, on the feeling happy bit, ever since I have come back from Star Trek Mission Chicago, I mean, there's ups and downs. I'm an anxious human being, so obviously, like, anxiety comes and goes in my life. But ever since leaving Mission Chicago, I have felt this confidence in myself and what I want to do in the world. I see a path before me of, like, what I want to make and what I want to do in the world, and maybe it will be good, maybe it won't be. Good is the wrong word. Successful. Maybe it won't be, but I just realized that, like, I just want to have a confidence in myself to pursue the things that I want to pursue and try to make the world a better place in the way that I want to make it. Part of that is really making videos on this channel and taking time with them. Something I'm going to talk about in a video next or coming up is I'm probably going to start taking longer with each of my videos. Not because I want to be lazy or anything like that, and though I'm sure none of you care if I work. You don't want me to work myself to death, and I understand that. I sometimes want to work myself too hard, but I want to make my videos something special and be really careful with them. I know a lot of you liked my recent NFT video, and I'm really pleased with the NFT video that I made, but I rewatched it after it went out, and I was really frustrated with it because I'm like, ugh, I see so many ways if I just had a few more days with it and had really focused on it, I could have made it better. And that's with any creative work, I know, but that one I just so clearly, like, I rushed that out the door to get it done. And I want to not do that anymore. I want to take the time to really make my video special. So with my, like, Sex and Star Trek Part 2 video, like, it's going to be 4 hours, but I'm going to tell you, like, it's not going to be 4 hours of, like, blah, and stretched out. Like, I want to make it, it's 4 hours, but it is a tight 4 hours, if that makes any sense. And I want to make it, like the editing special. Make sure there's no, like, repetitions of things, because that's one thing that I find in my work, because I don't spend enough time in the revising stage. I tend to repeat myself a little bit too much, so spend more time revising things. So yeah, so that's my hope for it going forward. And then on top of that, no announcements just yet, but I want to try and make some fiction stuff, and I'm working on some of that. Aaron McDonald, who I spoke about earlier, really inspired me to make sure that I start working on that and really pursuing that if that's what I want to do. If I really want to work on Star Trek, like, I really want to work on Star Trek. It is my dream to work on Star Trek. And it doesn't, and let me put it this way. The end of, like, my end goal isn't to work on Star Trek. Star Trek is something I want to do along the way of what I really find inspiring, which is making work that inspires me and fiction that inspires me, and creating stories that inspire me and hopefully inspire others and share my experience and share others' experience and uplift and make the world a better place. And then hopefully along the way of that, I get to contribute something to Star Trek. But that is just a stop along the way that I want to do. But if I want to do that, then I want to actively pursue that. And so that's something I want to be working on in the near future. So be looking for that. And thank you, by the way, to all of you for supporting me doing that. I wouldn't be able to do this if it wasn't for all of you. So thank you community for. I was just thinking about this the other day too with Mission Chicago. Like, I am so lucky to have a community that will back me being weird and taking risks like that. So thank you. And I really appreciate you doing that. It means a lot. It really means a lot to me to have all of you here and supporting me doing that. Like, legitimately could not do it without all of you, like, at all. So thank you. I'm over for Jessie Fiction. Thank you very much. Let me just quick. I know I saw some super chats and I missed some, so I want to get that. Hauntus Farmer, thank you for the congratulations. Your face looks great too. Oh no! Did the stream go out? Just want to make sure. Okay, still says my stream replay here ran out. So just hopefully stream's still running. Let me know in the chat if for some reason it knocked out. Okay, good. Okay. I have a playback video over here just telling me that things are going well, and it just stopped for a second, but it didn't tell me it failed. It just stopped. So I was like, oh, shoot. But it looks like everything's good. Geek Filter, heart to you. Thank you so much. Good to see you, my friend. Mwah, I appreciate you. Yeah, June is a better time to have a surgery. Hopefully, again, it'll probably all be fine. But yeah, less than 2 months. I'm so excited. Super Desi, heart to you, my friend, and thank you. That's a very generous super chat. You said, because you keep the I want to earn my influence and impact though means you will always maintain the quality of content creator. I love that first day of a con. Everyone is excited to see an old and new friends. Yeah, the first day of the con was so great. I got to see so many people, and like so many people that were like, and what I liked about the first day of the con too on Friday was that it was smaller. Like, it was a Friday, so there were less people there than like Saturday. And so I got to see, like, the people that I recognized from, like, Twitter and stuff who I never physically met, but now I actually got to physically see. It was truly wonderful. And I thank you on the other point. Like, I can't say, like, I'm going to make some crap stuff, right? Like, Jessie's going to make some crap. It's going to happen. But that's part of being a creator, right? Like, very few creators make perfect work every single time. But that's, like, that's part of the journey of being an artist and a creator. Every artist and creator is trying their best to just make new things, push themselves, create more. And in that experimentation, you fail, you lose, you mess up. And then there's real life factors as well that affect stuff, time, having to get stuff out, money, emotions, depression and overconfidence, things like that. So I'll make some crap. I'm sure I will. I'm sure I've already made some crap. But I want to keep pushing myself to constantly try to not rest on my laurels, but to push myself and to try and earn the impact that I have in the world. And so I appreciate that, Super Desi. Let's see. Ooh, excuse me. I gunk. D-Duds, hard to you. That's a very generous super chat. Thank you for that super generous super chat, D-Duds. I appreciate that. Oh, hi, Celestial Wizard. Good to see you. Last annoyance, but life animated documentary feels like a family with nonverbal autistic son Darmok themselves. I could be wrong. Hope your surgery goes through. Made the super chat more expensive to help, though. Well, thank you very much, D-Duds. I keep wanting to say D-Duds. I don't know why. Duds6699. Life animated. Have I seen? I know of Life animated. Was that nominated for an Oscar this year? For some reason, that sounds. Oh, that was a slightly older one. I know this film, but I have not seen it. Oh no, wait. I did see this one. Oh, this is the one about the autistic kid who like found his identity through Disney animation and stuff like that, and was able to like start verbalizing through it. I thought that was very sweet. It's been a hot minute since I watched it though, so I couldn't really speak necessarily how well it represented autism in the doc, because I think I watched it when it came out in 2016. It looks like, so it's been a hot minute. So I can't really speak to it too well, but I remember at the time thinking it was very sweet. It might be problematic though, but I can't remember. So I'd have to go back and watch it. But thank you so much for the super chat. Hard2 Carlo, the cinephile, you said, since you're playing Lego Star Wars, here's a little tip for you. Enter the code Worship to unlock Darth Vader and oh, that's adorable. That's adorable. I'll have to unlock that. The game's fun so far. I haven't played too much more. I played a little bit more, but I actually started, I might play this weekend I started, if I can find it here, this little game called Dark Souls 3. I can't guarantee this is what I'll play on Saturday, but I might be playing some Dark Souls 3 on Saturday. So, because it's the last of the Dark Souls games that I haven't beaten. I've beaten Dark Souls 1, beaten Dark Souls 2, so this is the last one. And I want to beat this one before I play Elden Ring, so we'll get there. So yeah, that might be what I play on Saturday. Can't guarantee it yet, but it might be. Rock and rollin', my soul heart to you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Yay, very happy for you all. I appreciate you. Aw, thank you, Nyx the Phoenix. Heart to you as well. Mwah, you're wonderful. I'm proud of you as well. Thank you very much, Nyx. John Vinnels, heart to you. Good look on the harmonization. I like that. Yeah, for some people say facial harmonization surgery. I liked facial harmonization surgery. That was I like that phrase much better. Like facial harmonization. Like feminization. Like what does feminized mean? Like we should decouple the word feminization, because who's to say my face isn't feminine, or other people's face aren't feminine, things like that, right? So I like harmonization, because that sort of like is more like it's harmonizing with how you sort of like see your own face and how you want your face to exist in the world, right? So I actually, instead of facial feminization surgery, I actually like facial harmonization surgery is a much better phrase, because again, what does feminine mean? It's a very socialized construct and concept that is individualized and also society-based as well in numerous different ways. So I actually really like harmonization surgery better. Yeah, so thank you very much. KOD Omega, thank you so much for Super Chat. A heart to you, my friend. You said, here's $5, get as weird as you like. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Trying to catch up here. Let's see. This graphic programmer, heart to you. You finally got me to watch Babylon 5 again. I'm up to season 3. Dang, all right. You need to podcast faster. Yeah, Deep's graphic programmer, you're going pretty quick. For those of you who don't know, I'm doing a podcast called Jumpgate with the wonderful Vera Weil of the Council of Geeks channel. She is absolutely wonderful. And we just finished Farscape, and we just started. We're about like 6 or 7 episodes into rewatching Babylon 5. We watch a new episode every week, and it's been a lot of fun. She has never seen Babylon 5. It's my second time watching Babylon 5. I haven't watched it since I was in either middle or high school. It's been a hot minute. And it's been so nice to like recapture what I love about that show. I forgot how much like eldritch like stuff is in it, like the unknowable and the fascination with the unknowable. There's that wonderful moment in, I think, episode 6 or 7. And this isn't a spoiler really, but Jakar, the character of Jakar, has this wonderful speech about how he is both terrified and reassured that there are things in the universe that are so far beyond our fathoming that it's that there are things still out there to discover and know, and yet how that's both scary and yet reassuring that there's still so much more to discover in our universe. I thought that was a really, 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 really sweet, amazing thought. And I think Babylon 5 also captures a lot of what that Star Trek feel that I love, which is it does have these moments of like waxing poetically about the nature of life and the universe and our place in it. And while things can be a struggle and hard, there are moments of beauty within all of it. And I loved that speech by Jakar. Like Eldritch stuff, I really, really loved. And Vera, you'll listen to it on the podcast, but we just recorded that podcast this week of that episode. And Vera made such a wonderful point of how with Eldritch horror, we tend to think, it's in the name, right? You tend to think of Eldritch stuff as horrifying, crazy, being, I know an ableist word, but like madness inducing. Where like seeing things beyond our understanding makes us feel terrified and scared. But that Babylon 5 does have elements of that. There's stuff that is horrifying in Babylon 5. That is beyond our knowing. But it also has a sense of wonder at it too. And I think that that's a cool, unique thing that you don't see often with Eldritch unknowable stuff. And I think Babylon 5 captures that really, really well. I thought that was really wonderful. Adrian, heart to you, happy late 420. Yeah, I forgot it's 420. Biden should decriminalize it. Yes, most definitely. Good luck, frickin' friend. Dark Souls is insane. Hey, I beat Dark Souls 1 and 2, so Dark Souls 3 we'll do it. Cyberquaker. Oh, Gab says, didn't know you were autistic. Yeah, I am autistic. I am on the autism spectrum. Cyberquaker. Jessie, what did you think about Forbidden West? I liked it. quite a bit. We're talking about Horizon Forbidden West. I really liked Horizon Forbidden West quite a lot. The storyline was incredibly political, and I loved it. And I don't want to spoil the twist at the end of the game for people who haven't played it, but the twist at the end of the game of who the real villain is, or what the real villain is, I'm like, oh, that's perfect, and a really good setup for, like, future games. Honestly, I liked the story of Horizon Forbidden West much better than last Horizon game, because I think it was much more, like, targeted in what it was trying to say and talk about, and I think it was aimed in the exact right place and doesn't, like, bungle the message. There is one twist halfway through the game that I was like, oh, you get an ally, and I'm like, I'm uncomfortable with this person being my ally. And then they twist it really well, and I really liked it. The only thing that I will say, and again, I'm trying to stay spoiler-free on this, they do kill a character. And I was not pleased with the character they chose to kill. I was a bit disappointed in that choice for several reasons. I'm like, I don't like the... It made me feel uncomfortable, the character they chose to kill. That is my one major problem with Horizon Forbidden West. Other than that, I think it's a great freaking game. Let's see. Heart to you, Joanna. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Mwah. You said, congrats, Jessie. By the way, I absolutely loved your Turning Red video. Zero and Zayzao, apologies if I said their name wrong, just put out a great video about it with more of a culture. I did see that, and I knew that that was an aspect of Turning Red that I missed. And unfortunately, I had a bit that I recorded when I was filming it. That I said, oh, if you, I know that I'm a white person talking about this, and there's a lot of, cultural influences on this about being a Chinese-born, Chinese-Canadian person, and that I couldn't recognize it, and I said in the recording, oh, check out these videos if you haven't seen it. But unfortunately, I recorded that without knowing if there were videos out yet, but I assumed there would be, and I couldn't find any at the time, so I didn't put it in the video itself. So maybe I'll go back and I'll put it in, like, the description to, like, check it out, their video, because, yeah, that was an aspect that I clearly could not talk about with Turning Red, right? Like, being a white person, like, I could talk about the sexual aspect of it and things like that, and how many right-wing and Catholic groups were sort of, traditionalist Catholic groups, I should say, were viewing the film. But I obviously couldn't talk about the Chinese-Canadian aspect because, again, I'm white. So I knew that was an element that I missed, and so I'm glad that people are talking about it in that way. It's well needed. What would you ask an Eldritch being? Says, but it's hard to you. Could you ask an Eldritch being anything? I would assume they just, like, whatever they say to you would just made you go mad, right? That's kind of the whole thing, that I wouldn't understand it. I mean, I don't know. Is there life after death? I really don't know. Like, is there life after death? That's probably the only one that I would really give a crap about, but I don't know if the answer would be anything that I would want to hear, necessarily. By the way, heart to you, disc graphic programmer. By the way, Babylon 5 takes a lot of elements from the Lensman pulp sci-fi series, elements that Star Wars hadn't stolen already. Yeah. I mean, that's how science fiction and that's how all creativity goes too. We're all inspired by other works and build upon other works and take from other works and steal from other works. Like they say, art is stealing from people and just hiding your sources, right? And it's about how well you hide your sources or how well you pay homage to them, right? I never, unless someone's like literally like taking something and like stealing the exact same idea, I think or like kicking someone while they're down, like stealing an idea and making sure they don't get credit or things like that. As long as you're crediting and art is all inspired from each other. That's why when I saw people like Star Trek Picard Season 1 stealing from Mass Effect, I'm like, so what if they did? Like, a lot of things steal from Mass Effect. And guess what? Mass Effect stole a lot from Star Trek and Babylon 5. Like, look at the Babylon 5 station. Every time I see Babylon 5 station, like, I think the Citadel from Mass Effect, right? The interior of it and stuff like that. It's very similar. So, like, all art steals from each other. It's all inspired from each other. And I'm sure Babylon 5 stole from other things. Like, it's all just influenced. So, it's all how it goes. And I'm not saying that's what you were saying. It's just maybe start thinking about that. Ideas of the Gourd. Hey, Jessie, have you seen Moon Knight? What are your thoughts? I have been reviewing Moon Knight week to week over on my secondary channel, so if you're curious about my week to week thoughts on it. I am liking it. I'm not loving it. I've been enjoying every episode I've given a positive review to so far, but none of it seems to be doing anything particularly special that I'm like, oh, this is amazing. In fact, the show that I can probably make it most akin to is Legion, especially, again, no spoilers, but towards the stuff that happened in the latest episode just reminds me a lot of Legion. And Legion was one of the best shows, period, let alone superhero shows ever. And it was just done so freaking well and so artistically that Moon Knight in a lot of ways feels like Legion mixed with a little bit of Indiana Jones and like kind of made a bit more ubiquitous, like made more for a mass consumer audience that Marvel does. And so it's like I like it. It's good. Oscar Isaac's great. Ethan Hawke is fantastic, and I love his villain in it. But I haven't been like head over heels for it, which is sad because like horror, like a more horror mythological themed Marvel show seems right up my alley. The one thing I will say about it, and this is not something that I can particularly analyze because again, white person, we were talking about that with Turning Red. I do at least appreciate though that that Egyptian culture seems to be better portrayed in the show than many other of these like globe-trotting, tomb raiding sort of stories, and that it is also about two people from that background, from an Egyptian background. At least I think their characters are. I don't necessarily know if the actors are necessarily, but I believe the characters are from that background. Trying to stop a white person, Ethan Hawke, from tomb raiding and stealing stuff in the tomb. That it's not like Indiana Jones, white guy coming into these different cultures and stealing artifacts and bringing them to museums in like America or Britain, which has a lot of colonialist sort of vibes to it. But it is people from that culture trying to stop a white person from doing that same thing. And then there's a lot of like Egyptian mythology and stuff like that. So I do really like that aspect of it. But the rest of it, it's good, but not knocking my socks off. I don't think it's anything to write home about. But it is like a show that's up my alley in terms of aesthetic and style. So I'm liking it. I'm definitely enjoying it. If you read, John Vindel's Heart to You, if you read Emergency Scheme by N.K. Jemisin still in a premise to Forbidden West, I could see that. N.K. Jemisin seems like she would write something similar to what the Forbidden West story is. That makes sense to me after reading like her Broken Earth trilogy and stuff. Also, did anyone know? People forget this. I haven't read it yet. Did anyone know that N.K. Jemisin wrote a Mass Effect Andromeda book of all things? Like, N.K. Jemisin, I think 3 times in a row, Hugo Award, I believe a Hugo Award winner, wrote one of the best fantasy like trilogies ever with the Broken Earth trilogy. I think the first black woman to win the Hugo 3 times in a row, and I think one of the first, if only, people to do that. Like wrote a Mass Effect Andromeda book. Such a weird thing. It's very strange. I haven't read the book yet, but I'm like, I was like looking through like Mass Effect Andromeda books, and I'm like, N.K. Jemisin? It's just a weird choice. It's funny because like Mass Effect Andromeda crashed and burned as a game, and I like Mass Effect Andromeda. I actually want to play it on stream at some point in the near future. I like Mass Effect Andromeda. It's definitely not as good as the other 3, but I still enjoy it. I still think it's like a good game. It's like a solid 8, where all the other ones are like 9s or 10s, and I say that even about Mass Effect 3. I know people have hot takes on that too. But they thought that Mass Effect Andromeda was gonna be like a thing. And so since they thought it was going to be like a thing, they had like 3 or 4 Mass Effect Andromeda books that they dropped, which is about the same amount they have for the original Mass Effect trilogy. So there's like just as many Mass Effect Andromeda books as there are like Mass Effect trilogy books, which I think is kind of funny. Catching up on some of these super chats and other things that people said. D-Duds, thank you so much. I thought I was finished, but I was totally into you and your friend's podcast once I get like 4 seasons in. I like how most previous consoles do Babylon 5 CG in real time. Yeah. It's funny because the Babylon 5 CGI is terrible. It's very campy though. I enjoy it. It's like I get nostalgia for it. It's like very campy CGI, but yeah, Babylon 5 CGI not great. The designs are great. Like Babylon 5's designs are fantastic. Like their alien design, the ship design, fantastic. Like art direction. CGI sadly could not keep up with it. Very unfortunately. Christy Carey, heart to you. Thank you so much. You're my hero too. I appreciate you, my friend. It's not stealing, it's paying homage. Exactly. J. Michael Stinchi says Donald. Yep. Let's see. Have I gotten the opportunity to listen to Old Gods of Appalachian? No, I want to. I've been looking for good horror stuff. I found 2 books by Michelle Pavler, something like that. Wonderful author that I recently found. Books called Thin Air and Dark Matter. Both phenomenal books and some great. If you're looking for good horror, like good horror novels to read, like they're kind of novellas more like, but they're considered novels, but I think they're like right on the edge of being a novella. If you're looking for a good horror read, and I actually listen to the audiobook, and the audiobooks are like the reader for the audiobooks are really good. Cannot recommend Michelle Paver's Thin Dark Matter, and I think Thin Air, I think was the other one. Both are fantastic. Both should be checked out. Especially if you're a big fan of if you like the Magnus Archives podcast, you should definitely check it out. If anyone has any good, I know Old Gods of Appalachia is a good recommendation. If anyone has any good podcast, audio drama, horror, or audiobooks or novels that have that same like Magnus Archives kind of eldritch horror, psychological horror vibe to them, please let me know because I'm looking for some good ones. It's hard. It's so hard to find like ones that like hit that perfect spot for me. Hello from Hallowoods. No, I have not. I'm going to write that down. Thank you very much, Cameron. I'm going to write that down. Hello from Hallowoods. I'll write that down. Thank you so much. Zelda, you said DID representation, dissociative identity disorder, Moon Knight. Yeah, I'm glad for that too. From what I can tell, they've handled it really well. I can't speak to that either. I don't know too much about how to do representations of DID. So I'd leave that to someone with DID to better tell me if they did it or not. But from what I've seen and from what I've heard from, I do have a few friends who do have DID. They've been enjoying the depiction so far. So that's been good. I appreciate that. Let's see. Russell, thank you so much for your super chat. I appreciate you. You said, hey, glad to see FFS got moved up. Loved the last video. Well, thank you very much, Russell. I appreciate that. The Molly J again, heart to you. How are you liking the Halo series? Also another show that I'm doing weekly reviews on. So if you want to hear my weekly thoughts on Halo, I have been doing week-to-week reviews of the Halo show over on my secondary channel. Which, by the way, I saw someone, who was it? Jedi and Indiana Jones, as always, shared my secondary channel links. So thank you, Jedi. You're lovely. What was I going to say? Halo. I have been enjoying it. I don't think it's a great series, but I have been thinking it's been consistently good. And the latest episode that came out today, Reckoning, I think it was called, was actually really, really good. Without spoiling, the last 15 minutes were like really good action. Like for a TV budget, the things that they showed in it were really awesome. And not only was the action just good, they used the action to actually build the characters' arcs. And actually use it's not just like, look at this cool stuff happening. Like the stuff happening mirrored a lot of what their arcs of the characters were going throughout the episode and actually highlighted and exemplified them. That's something that I always appreciate action for doing. You can do good action. Like, I've seen movies do good action, but the action just looks cool and doesn't say anything necessarily about the characters. And I'm not saying that that's necessarily bad. Like, sometimes just looking, like, having good action, that's art in and of itself. There's nothing wrong with that. But I appreciate when the action mirrors the storytelling. And I thought that Halo, again, not the best action in the world, but for a TV budget, I think it does it really well, and I think it showed the story of the character really well. I am also really liking the show's discussion of, and Alethea, thanks so much for Super Chat. I'll check it out and I just want to make sure you know I see it. I'm really liking its exploration of ideas of control, because I saw, Daniel Green? The YouTuber Daniel Green. Love Daniel Green. He's a great YouTuber. But he made a point in his review of the first 2 episodes of Halo that he's like, oh, they took the show and they're not doing what the show's the ideas of the game and just doing their own thing. And I would actually disagree with him slightly on that. They have definitely changed the story. The story of the Halo show is very different from the Halo game. But but I think the show in a lot of ways is exploring the same exact themes of the game in a different way. Because if you look at Halo and what its mythology is discussing, it's all about control and how aspects of control are used in different ways, shapes, or forms. So obviously John, as a Spartan, is controlled by the military and also from a little kid. It's like, do we have free will? The Covenant being a religious metaphor. They're a metaphor for religion. And how, like, religion within the Covenant is used to control the different aliens and groups within that, and free will within that. So I think it's very much a game series about control and exploring those ideas of free will and control under these different institutionalized systems. And I think the show is exploring those same ideas in a very different way. In a way that is actually much more targeted at the UNSC military and John's agency, that was not really discussed or evolved in the games all that much, because the games were more focused on the Covenant, whereas the show seems more focused on the UNSC. My one negative I will say is the Covenant where the Covenant are depicted in the show is not well thought out, and I'm having a hard time grasping the Covenant within the games. But I think that's one major aspect of the show that I'm really enjoying. It's exploring those same ideas and themes. So that's my brief thoughts on the Halo show. I'm really enjoying it. Best show ever? No, by no means. But I think it's been solid so far. Alethea, heart to you. You said, you gave me a super chat. You said, congrats again on your facial harmonization surgery getting moved up. Been pushed off my plan path to gender confirmation surgery, unexpected job insurance disruption. I'll figure something out, overthrow the U.S. government healthcare perhaps. That we should do, most definitely. Healthcare in the United States sucks balls. But what I will say, my gender confirmation surgery, I was lucky because of Obamacare. I was on my parents' health insurance at the time because I got my gender confirmation surgery when I was 24, maybe 25, somewhere in that vicinity. So I was still on my parents' healthcare plan then, which was nice because then I just go there and like if I changed jobs, I didn't have to worry about it because I was still on my parents' healthcare. So it was very nice that I didn't have to worry about that. But I did have something similar happen with FHS, facial harmonization surgery, because I actually was scheduled to get facial harmonization surgery way back when I still lived in Los Angeles. About 2 years ago, almost at this point, a little less than 2 years ago. But because I switched jobs and moved to Seattle, I had to restart from scratch, and that's when I got the January date, which obviously got moved back and canceled until now June. So I had a very similar experience. It's very disheartening and shitty, and it sucks. So Alethea, I'm so sorry that it happened to you, but I hope things go well and that your path to it is great. But also, yes, let's overthrow the U.S. healthcare system because it sucks. It's terrible, and I hate it. John Vinnels, unlike a certain Australian musician and former renowned Usher, Isaac actually read about DID and tried. Oh, that's awesome. I did not know that. I'm glad that he did the research. They need to. In film, if cool-looking scenes are more important than character motivation, something's wrong. Looking at you, Zack Snyder. I disagree. It depends on what you're going for, Lewis. I would say in a lot of stories, obviously character motivation is important, but there are just some movies where it's just like, they're just about cool people doing cool things, and there's nothing wrong with that. And again, it's just like what your intent is, what you're trying to get at, right? I think is the better aspect to put it, because everyone usually says like, oh, this thing needs to make sense. Like, you could have things that don't make character motivation sense. I mean, look at something like Twin Peaks, right? Like, stuff doesn't make sense at all in there, but that's not necessarily the intention of it. And so sometimes just like, I think, I'm trying to think of like a good example. The Raid movies, for example, not the deepest movies of all time, right? They're like, there's dude going into a house and beating the crap out of people. But like the artistry being put on display in the Raid movies is the physical body and the physical form. So yeah, there's character motivations make sense in that generally, but still, like, the goal of it was not necessarily to be like the deepest story of all time. It was to showcase these action sequences, and that's fine too. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just different attempts, in different things. I'm not saying much. Just oh well, thank you, D-Duds. Thank you so much. You're giving a lot of super chats, D-Duds. I appreciate that. You're being very, very kind. Well, thank you, my friend. I appreciate the generosity. That is very much appreciated. Punk Rock Zoologist, heart to you. Jessie was out of reception range, only just tuned in, but congratulations on your good news. Oh, thank you, Punk Rock Zoologist. Mwah, mwah. I appreciate you. Mwah. You're wonderful and amazing. Thank you so much, my friend. Okay. Now that we're all caught up, I'm going to stick around. Normally I check out here, but I'm going to stick around for a little bit longer because I'm actually going to go see a movie. I'm actually going to see The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, the new Nicolas Cage movie in a little bit. And I still have time, and I thought I was going to be tired because of my tooth, because I talked about that earlier, but I'm still good, so I'll stick around for another 10 minutes or so. Let's try. I appreciate the super chats. And if you want to donate to super chats, I appreciate that. And I will not say no to super chats. Obviously, they do help pay the bills. But I'm gonna try and make sure I've been mainly focusing on super chats. So if you are someone who can't afford super chats or something like that, I'm gonna try and focus on you. So if you have any questions or things you want me to talk about, I'm gonna not focus on super chats as much. But if you do give a super chat, again, appreciate it. But please just let me know if there's something you want me to touch upon that isn't a super chat. So yeah. I just want to see, because I know that I do feel bad about that. Again, I appreciate super chats, but I also feel bad that I want to make sure that I try and give focus to people who can't afford or can't do super chats, so, or don't want to. So yeah. Have you seen the Across the Spider-Verse delay, says Andrew D'Amato? Yes, I have. Disappointed by that, but I'd rather them, oh, hi, Jim Bug. Well, welcome to the channel, my friend. Good to see you. I mean, I want them to take as long as they need with that. Like, I'm disappointed. Do I want to see Into the Spider-Verse or Across the Spider-Verse, the new one, this year? 100%, totally. I love the first one. One of my favorite, definitely one of, if not my favorite superhero movie of all time, period, full stop. But I want them to just take their time with it, do it right. Like, take every single moment that you need. Don't kill yourself. Don't crunch. Like, make the movie that you want to make. And I appreciate them delaying it. Like there's the Shigeru Miyamoto phrase that is always true. And it's in any medium. A delayed game is, or what was it? It's I forget. I'm gonna paraphrase this badly, but a bad game is bad forever. A delayed game is good later. It's something along those lines. I forget the exact quote, but like, delay the thing, get it right, and take your time with it. So I'm perfectly happy. Disappointed, I'm sure, but perfectly happy. I remember you mentioned wanting to do something on Severance. I've been this week in Mind Blown. Yes, I do want to do something on Severance. So just to give you all a quick update on some videos. What's the plan for my videos? So there's no video because I've seen it in Crochet Tiger asking. No video this Friday. I have a video going up it'll be going up Monday for patrons. And I'll be going up Friday for everyone else, and on Nebula probably on middle of the week. But patrons, you're going to get a video on Monday, and it's going to be about the sexualization of transgender bodies. How trans people's bodies are always sexualized in some way by different people, whether that be fetishized, or it be like tantamount to just being seen as a sex act. Like, our existence in a space is seen as tantamount to a sex act, like many TERFs do. Or now, I wrote the video before a lot of the groomer stuff, like arguments that were coming out now, so it touches upon that, but I don't get as into it as much just because the video I filmed like a month or two ago and just have been editing it now, so it's a little less directly at that, but it's still, like, all of that, the concepts still fit well within that. I just talked less directly about it, but the same idea. So that video is going to go out next week on Friday. And how we talk about that. And then I'm debating whether it's going to be 2 videos or 1 video. It might be 2 videos just for time's sake. But I'm having a video about James Gunn and how James Gunn's films, like, all of his filmography, so Slither all the way to the Suicide Squad, talks about masculinity and his de-radicalization of toxic masculinity throughout his work, and how I think James Gunn shows a really great empathy for people who are often cast as villains in our society, and how he breaks down that toxic masculinity. So it's an analyzation of James Gunn's work. So that's going to be most of May, and then I have Sex and Star Trek Part 3 coming in June. After that, I have a bunch of video ideas that I know. Those are ones that are currently on the plate, and I have a few other videos that I might that I've filmed and might slot in there as well within those. But those are the major ones coming. So that's the current schedule, and I have like 3 or 4 more that I filmed that I just want to get out, but I don't know when I'm gonna have time to get to them. Like a Star Trek comedy video, which I want to do, which I filmed and I want to get edited. I just haven't had any time to. But I don't think it's going to do, the comedy video is not going to do super well in the algorithm, but it's like an hour-long Star Trek, like, shit post, and it's a lot of fun. But we'll see when I can edit it. Oh, thank you very much, Junebug. Oh, you're, mwah. Oh, I'm sorry you have been, you are absolutely valid, Junebug. You're absolutely amazing. And I'm so glad you're here. So thank you for being here. I don't do analysts. Thank you, Lainey Ruth. Appreciate it. But what was I going to say? But one video that I really, really, really want to do, really badly, but it's one of those videos that if I want to do it, I want to do it well, and I worry that like the amount of time that it'll take me to do it will take too long to make it not relevant in the algorithm, but I still want to do it, is the existential horror of offices. And Severance will be a big part of that. But I have an idea for that video of like talking about why we have such an existential horror at the idea of returning to the office and the pandemic and offices and things like that. That's the video I want to do. I have a very cool concept for it, not just in like how I talk about it, but I want to like start to mirror it in some of the visuals. It's going to be kind of a sequel. If any of you remember my Nature of Work video, where I had like a horror vibe to that video throughout the whole way, it's kind of like that is the concept. And so it's an exploration of that same idea, Nature of Work, but from the other way around, not internalized, but the externalized horror of the work that we do in our society and capitalism. But if I'm going to do it, the way I'd want to do it is I'd want to, what's the best way to put it? If I'm going to do it, the way I'd want to do it is I want to actually rent out an office building and like spend money on it. Like use like some of the funds that I've saved up in order to like really go all out on that video. So that would mean taking time and like finding people to work on it and things like that. So I think it would be a really, really fun video and a necessary video. I'm just worried how much time it's going to take me, and whether it'll still be relevant by the time that I want to do it. But we'll see. But yeah, so that's the video that I'm thinking of after I finish the videos that are currently on my plate. With Sex and Star Trek Part 2 is the big one, because it's 4 hours freaking long. So film it at a WeWork. Oh, if I could get Emily, that's I like that. How much it would cost me though is the question, but that's not a bad idea. I actually kind of love that. But they do some good office liminals. Well, that's Brutus. That's what it would be. I want to talk about, like, the video would talk about, like, offices as liminal spaces and why that's sort of scary. Like, so, like, creepypasta stuff, like the back rooms, Severance, Stanley Parable would also be another thing that I would talk about in there, the game Stanley Parable. So there's a lot to talk about with that, so. Oh, thank you, Nix the Phoenix. I appreciate that. Superliminal. Yes. Superliminal actually is actually another one to freaking talk about with that. Thank you very much, because that's another one in that video. This is the problem, right? When you're an artist, you always have too many ideas than you have time to make. It sucks. Like, I wish I had all the time in the world to just make stuff. And you're just like, is this going to even be relevant by the time it comes out and stuff like that. And to be fair, if I do the Severance video, it would be actually a prequel for like what I would want to do on an actual fiction thing, because I have a fictional thing that's very much inspired by Severance as well. So, also Portal. Portal's actually a good game to talk about in that. Now we're just talking about Office. Now we're just getting things. Portal's actually Portal's actually a great game, especially Portal 2 is a great game to talk about if we're talking about existential horror of The Office. Private Trans Girl has a question. What did I miss? Have you seen it? Oh, I'm so sorry. No, I have not, Private Trans Girl. I apologize. I have not checked them out, but I appreciate you being here, and I will try to check them out. But yeah, no, I have not, so apologies, my friend. Alright, I think I'm going to head out, because I said it'd stay for another 10 minutes, so I might head out now, but if there's any last-minute things, if anyone has any last-minute things that they want to ask before I finish up, I would be happy to. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yes. Oh, that's... Oracle. Oracle Ocelot. Thank you very much for that. Actually, I'm going to write that down. Transformative versus transactional. Yes. Thank you. Actually, all of you are giving me all the good notes. I should just give you all my video ideas before I film them every single time and just have you give me all the ideas. The Northman on Wednesday. I saw the Northman on Wednesday. Robert Eggers has now scored the hat trick. Hopefully I'm gonna see the Northman so tonight I'm seeing the Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, the Nicolas Cage movie, and then I'm hoping Sunday I will see the Northman. So hopefully I'll have reviews of both of those up. So I'm gonna go see that tonight. Hopefully review it tonight, depending on how late it is when I get home and how I feel about filming a review. And then we'll do another one on Friday as well. So, anyways, I am gonna head out. Thank you everybody for letting me share my good news. Thank you for being amazing and kind. Thank you for this. I will see you all. So just quick announcements and stuff. Don't forget Jumpgate. Podcast is going on. Next video is up on Monday, possibly sooner for patrons. I just need to finish some small stuff. You might get it, honestly, you might get it tomorrow or Saturday. So if you're a patron, be on the lookout for that video. That'll be coming out in just a few days for you. And then it'll be up on Friday for everyone else and probably somewhere in between for people on Nebula. So be on the lookout for that. It's the sexualization of trans bodies. And then Saturday I'll be doing my stream, my normal video game stream. I'm not entirely sure what game I'm going to play. If anyone has any suggestions, please tweet at me, because I'd love to hear suggestions of games, but I'm thinking possibly going further into Dark Souls 3. That might be what we play on Saturday, but I might shift something up depending on how I'm feeling. That's all my stuff. Heart to you, everybody. Mwah. You're all amazing and lovely. I am going to eat some food and then head out to my movie, and I wish you all a wonderful evening and a wonderful life, and please take care of yourselves. Know that you're all valid and that you're all amazing. Especially, I just want to end right here. If you are someone who is dealing with some of the horrible stuff going on in the world towards trans people right now, I especially want to say an extra special love, sending extra special love to you. It's tough right now, and I get that, but know that you are amazing. The world is just shitty sometimes, and that's sadly just. That's the world being shitty. But you yourself are always amazing in who you are. And there are amazing people who care about you. There is a world of people that care about you. And sadly, it's just people in power who do their worst to hide good information from people. And caring from people and try to divide us. But you are amazing and wonderful. So, love you all. And have a wonderful evening. And I'll see you all Saturday.